In this video we are going to create match card game using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. You will get two chances. You see the image is not match and it says does not match. Okay, so let me choose another image, and this is the matching image match, and you can see now the question mark will be converted to cross sign. Now the score has also been updated, and again the image does not match. If it matches, the question mark will be converted to cross and you won't be able to click over there. Now let's play some other images. Now this matches, and now we have only 6 blocks, or you can say 6 images to complete. Image match, and again image match, and here we are going to focus, and the score has been converted, and now you can see you won, it says. And here we are going to use plain JavaScript, which is vanilla JavaScript, and this is the 33rd project in the series of JavaScript project. And you cannot directly jump from here. I would recommend you to start from the first project until till you reach here. Then this project will be very easy. You can complete this project within one day, and that's what I did. Now enough with the play, let's get to the code. Let me complete this game. And you'll get the source code and the description, and along with the steps I have written in the notepad, you will also get the steps to create this in the description. And now it says you won. Fine. Now let me show you the structure. We have one images folder which will contain all the images. And we are going to start from 0. That is, I have removed all the script. You can see now it's plain plain script file. We have linked the CSS and the script on the head tag of the HTML, and here in the HTML we have only heading and a div, and this is a place where the score will be dynamically added, and I have used to specify it with ID, and this is a grid where all the images are going to dynamically come. Fine. I have designed the body in such a way that whatever you place it inside the div, it will be in the center, and I have specified the height and width to it, and this is a heading. Sorry for that. Now let's start the script. I want to start when the document, that is when the DOM is completely loaded. I want to start the project. So for that I'll add a listener to the document, and when the document content loaded, I want to show a message called DOM loaded. Now the DOM is loaded and you are getting the message. That means this is the right place to start the code. Fine. Now we are going to create an array of objects. Let me create an array and name it as card array, and this array will hold objects. So objects, will be in the key and value pair. The key here is name, and the value here I will be submitting. So for now let me add some values, and in an object we have two keys, name and image. Likewise we will be required 12 of those. So let me copy paste it some more time. So you can see I have grouped the object as 2 Why? It is because I'll show you right now. You see there is an array. It shows that it should be an array, not an object. So let me create a round bracket. Sorry, let me create a square bracket instead of curly bracket. Curly bracket refers to object, and square bracket refer to array. Fine. So I'm going to pass the name and the image location, you would be noticing that I'm pasting the coordinator twice. I'm going to paste the HTML twice. It is because this is a match. On 12 images, there would be 6 pair. Fine. This is third, and this is fourth, fifth, and finally the sixth one. Fine. Now, what we need is we are going. Our game should be in such a way that on each refresh it should give a challenge. So for that, let me show the array first. How does it looks when page loads? Let me get into the console. Get into the console tab. Control Shift I, or you can right click it in the inspect. Now this is console. If I refresh it, the array will be in the same order. You see coordinator HTML, it's in the same order. On page refresh, I don't want like this. I want the on each page refresh, I want the array to be in a random order. So for that, a simple way is I would use the inbuilt function, which is sort, and I would use arrow function. So this is the ES6 version, so let's use the arrows function instead of anonymous function. And inside the arrow function, I would return the random value, some random value. I hope you know we have already covered how to create random values, so I'm not getting into it. So if you see on each refresh, and we are getting an error, that is because I have specified the bracket curly brace. We don't need to specify the curly brace. Sorry for that. Now if you see on each refresh, you will get the random number, random array in an order. We have code igniter, then we have HTML, two code igniter and two HTML. Now you can see it is starting from JavaScript, HTML, Laravel, PHP. Now it's in the random order. On each refresh, we'll get a random array. Now what I need is I want to access the object individually. Since our object is inside the array, I would use for each to. Now this for each will allow us to access individual object. So each individual object will be inside the variable called one by one. This is a variable one by one obj. So now if I zoom out a bit, you will get to know that we can individually access each object. Now we need to create an image. This image number will be equal to the number of object we have created. So this image will have a source attribute, and we know our object already has a path to it. So let me pass the path, our object plus the key we need to pass, and we need to append this image inside a div. So the div which I have already shown you in the HTML, which I have identified with the ID grid. So let me initialize it. So this is a div. So let me initialize it. Document dot query selector, and we need to pass hash, so it is an ID. So let me place the initialization up above the for each loop, or else on each loop you will be initializing the grid variable. So I want to append the image inside the div, which is the parent div grid. So now you will get on each refresh you will get different images. Fine. Now we don't want to show the exact image. Instead, we want to show a placeholder. The placeholder here is simply the question mark. So this is the image I want to show. Now you have idea that we are getting the images, but I'm hiding the images with the question mark. Fine. Now we need to add an ID. So let me add an ID attribute to the image. This is how we set the attribute. ID is an attribute of image. So set attribute function, we need to pass two parameter. The first one is the key and the second one is the value. So you can see each of them are having the hard code value 1. I don't need that. I want it to be incremented. So we can have we can have two parameter on the for each. Now you can see it's in the incremental order. Now what we need is we need to add a event listener, which is click event, to the image. This is the image and I want to add a click event. The first one is the event and the second one is what it should do. So this is a function. When I click on it, when I click on the image, I want the flip card function to execute. So let me initialize the flip card function. So let me simply, I'll give you an alert. So when I click on image, so you will get an alert saying a message. So this image can also be called as this inside this function. So this dot class list dot add, we are going, instead of showing a message, I would like to add a class to the image. So this class would be selected, which I have already defined on the CSS. It will have simply the border 5 pixels solid yellow, and I have a transition so that it smoothly transition from red to yellow. So by now you might have understood what is this. So here this is simply referring to the image which I have currently clicked. So I want to get the ID of the image which I have clicked, and I want to store it into a variable called ID. And now when I click on the image, I will get the ID of it. So let me console and show it on the console tab of the Chrome inspector, and you can see 11 is coming up. But there is a mistake that each time 11 is coming up. It should not be like that. So I made a mistake, that is I have hard coded the value img. Instead of that I would have used this to it. So you see, so this is a mistake where I am did. This need to be replaced with img. So now on each click you will get the ID of it. Now you got the ID. Now you can easily get the objects keys, which is name and path of the image. Fine. With this ID, get the name. So how we are going to do it? Call the array. We know we have already initialized the array at the top, which is card array, and to access the array individually we need to pass the index, and to access the key we will be passing name is a key. So let me console the message on the Chrome. Now you can see ID is printing along with the name. Now you got to know how to get the name. Now what we do is we'll get the path of the path. It is really very simple. Instead of the key we would get the image of the object and store it into a variable called image source. And what we need is we want this image to be replaced with the image source variable. And now this question mark will be replaced with the original image. Fine. Now we just need to click only twice on any image. So for that let me create an array called chosen, and on each click I want the chosen array to be populated with the ID. So to populate it I'll use a function chosen.push. And now if the chosen length is equal to 2, then what I need is I want to show a message. 2 image clicked. You can give any message. I'm giving 2 image clicked. If I click on it you'll see, but it is not showing up. Once if I click it you'll see the message, but this is not the way I need. I want some time between the click and the message. So for that, instead of directly pasting alert, I will use the setTimeOut function. Yes. So what I need is I want some time between the click and the message. So for that I'm using set timeout, and the time here is 300 millisecond, and it will say two images selected. And after 300 millisecond, after you click on it, after 300 millisecond you'll get a message called two images selected. Fine, now that's working. Now what we are going to do is we are going to call the check match function. Now let me define the check match function after the flip card. So now we have access to the chosen array. So inside the chosen array we have passed two id. The id start with the index 0. 0 refers to the first click, and 1 refers to the second click. First click and second click. Now you can see 3 and 7. Third and fourth. Now it is not showing up because after the first and second click, what I need to do is I want to reinitialize the array. That means the array should be blank again. So after every second click, it will reinitialize to 0. You can see. After every second click, it is again calling the checkmark function. Fine. Now if two times clicked on the same image, that means if I show you, if I two times click on the same image, that means we are getting the same index number twice. See, 3 and 3. Now it's 7 and 7. So this is how, if I click on the same image twice, what I need to do is I need to show a message that you have clicked on the same image twice. So for that, if the id, both the IDs are equal, then what we need to do is we need to reinitialize the array. It is very important, or else you won't be able to get the output on every twice click. Now I want to show a message called you clicked on same image twice. So this doesn't solve a problem. You clicked on the same image twice, but the image is not getting converted or getting replaced with question mark. Now we need to get, so let me call all the images, get all the images using query selector and store it into a variable called card, and this card will have access to all the images. So if I show you, and after the alert you will get the message. So before getting into it, I would like to show you how the images are selected. So let me console the images, the images are in the variable called card. So if after every true click I want to show the images, that means get all images and show. So let us see, after every second click we'll get all the images. So these images can be accessed with the index number. So we'll pass the index number. If I pass the index number chosen 0, which is on the first click, you'll see we're getting the image. So that image need to be replaced with the question mark. So this is for the first click. Do this same for the second click also. Question.jpg. Now it will be replaced to the question mark. It's not working. Let me see again. We need to set the source attribute. Now you can see if I click twice, it will get converted to question mark again after the message. Fine, that is working. Now we need to check another match. If we have emptied the string Now we have got the id using the index number. Now what we need to do is we need to get the image name. To get the image name, we'll use the array which we have defined above, and we'll pass this index number to it. Call the array and pass the index number. While passing the index number, you have access to individual object, so we need to call the name key of the object, and I'll store it into a variable called selected. Name is the key. So let me console and see whether I'm getting right or not. After a second click, I'll get the first. I have not. I have passed the image. You see, HTML is coming. So let me do this for the second. This is the first image, and let me do for the second click as well. Pass the index 1, and this is the selected image 2. Let me separate it with space. So after second click, you will get both the image. Both the images are not same because the first one has coordinator name and the second one is angular. So if both are not match, then repeat the same process. What do I mean by that? Replace the original image with the question mark and reinitialize the array. That's what I meant. Repeat the same. So we are going to use the if condition. If both the values are not same, not equal to, then copy paste the same thing, and this time we need to replace the question mark on both the images. So if you see there is an error, it is because I should have used else if, not the if itself. And I would like to show a message called does not match, and try again. Let me place this above the if condition, and we'll have else if, and now it would work. If both of them does not match, it will show an error. Sorry, it will show a message and it will get converted to the question mark image again. Both of them does not match, message and question mark again. Now if both of them matches, now this is the second condition. If both images matches, now in place of not equal to, we'll just add the equal to. If both of them matches, then we need to replace the image question mark to the cross, which I have named it as blank. You'll see it's inside the image folder, and I would like to show the message as matched, images matched. Now what we need is we have replaced the images. Now we need to remove the click function. That means once the images is turned to blank, that is cross, I want to remove the click function. The click function is flip card. So let me remove the click function. So I have already defined the click function. So this is to add, we'll use add event listener. To remove, we'll use remove event listener. So I need to use the index number of the image, and there is an error. Card is simply the image. I need to pass the index number. I need to remove the event listener for both the images, selected images. Now that's working. Now the next thing is I need to increment the score on each match. On each match, increase the score. So for that, I'll create an array called won. Let me create an array, or you can let me initialize an array called won, and this array will hold all the success images, or let's say index of the images which we have won. Let me define it below. So if there is a match, and if both the images matches, then I have created a array, and this will hold the index which is matched. And you know, on each match the won array is going to get incremented by 1. So I'll get the element score which is in the which I have used with the identified with the id result, and I will change the text inside it, and I will use the text row dot the array dot length. So on each match we know the score, the won array is going to get incremented by 1. Let me play till the end so that I can show you what happens when everything when there is no place to click. That means all the images are cross. What will happen is it will stop at 12. Now the score is 8, then 10, then finally you'll see 12, and it stops. And in place of 12 I need to show the message called success message, like you won. So for that we need to check a condition which is if condition. If the total length of the image is equal to the won array length, that means the game has finished. So for that, I need to use the div, and I want to pass the string which is you won. So let's see. Once you won, instead of 12 you will get the message you won. That means there is no place to click again, and you need to restart the game, or you need to refresh the browser to start again. And that's all for this video. Thank you so much for listening. Get the source code in the description, and this is the 33rd JavaScript project in my playlist 10, and you can see you won, and that's it.